Hi, and welcome to another episode of Emerald Isle Vacation Home Specialist. I am your host, Dennis Richkovsky. Some of you recognize me as the co-owner of Flip Flops Donuts, and some of you know me as your broker of real estate, specializing in waterfront and waterview properties along the Crystal Coast, especially in my town of Emerald Isle, North Carolina. Both professions place me in the thick of the industry that drives the economic engines of Emerald Isle, the Crystal Coast, and the entire state of North Carolina, tourism. And today you will learn what Emerald Isle is doing in preparation for the upcoming tourism season in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. As I record this video, the town of Emerald Isle remains under a state of emergency in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. In an effort to limit the spread of the coronavirus while maintaining essential services, the town has instituted several operational changes to ensure social and physical distancing in order to limit exposure for vacationers and residents alike. Good news for vacationers. The town of Emerald Isle lifted its mandatory restriction on short-term rentals effective May 9th. Vacationers can now rent and occupy rental housing units, condominiums, RV campsites, hotel rooms, and similar accommodations. That is easy to say, but can be challenging to implement. For example, all vacation rental guests will expect an impeccable, clean room. But what room will cause the most hesitation when travelers are deciding if it is safe to leave the confines of their home? My hospitality acumen as an owner of a couple of oceanfront vacation rentals tells me it is going to be the bedroom. Hotels have set a high bar over the past 20 years with their emphasis on white comforters or white toppers over triple sheeted beds. And it is my goal in my properties to make a promise of sweet rest to my rental guests by providing freshly laundered and sanitized bedding after every departure. More good news for vacationers. This option is gaining momentum among vacation property managers. Good news for residents. Due to national supply chain issues, travelers to Emerald Isle are encouraged to bring necessary supplies with them. These items include, but are not limited to, paper products, cleaning supplies, toilet paper, and basic grocery items. Of course, the devil is in the detail. Per Executive Order 138, restaurants in Emerald Isle and across North Carolina must remain closed for dine-in meals. Only takeout, drive-through, and delivery services are allowed. And that is how I am operating Flip Flops Donuts. Customers can pre-order online at www.flipflopsdonuts.com or simply take out donuts. For day trippers, Emerald Isle has taken the dimmer switch approach to opening public beach parking areas. Beginning May 9th, the 3rd Street and Station Street parking lots will open to the public, as will the Eastern Ocean Regional Access parking lot. However, all restrooms and outside showers will remain closed. The Western Ocean Regional Access remains closed due to construction, and this facility will reopen upon completion of that work. For everyone, vacationers, residents, and day trippers, the waters of the Atlantic Ocean and Bogue Sound within Emerald Isle are open for outdoor recreational use. Permitted activities include swimming, surfing, kiting, kayaking, fishing, and boating. Residents can walk, jog, and sit on the beach strand. However, all beachgoers must adhere to the current social distancing guidelines for the Phase 1 opening in Emerald Isle and North Carolina. These include maintaining social distancing of 6 feet or greater and limiting gatherings to groups of 10 or less. Wearing a protective face covering when in public is also recommended. All of these precautions and guidelines, when obeyed, do limit the spread of the COVID-19 virus, and that is a good thing for locals and vacationers alike. Also, it is important for people thinking about visiting Emerald Isle this vacation season, or any other season for that matter, that we are not Fort Lauderdale or Myrtle Beach or Ocean City, Maryland, or the Jersey Shore, where hundreds of thousands descend weekly on tiny coastal communities with limited beach strands. The number of guests who visit Emerald Isle weekly during the summers would fit comfortably inside Yankee Stadium. We'll have 40,000 vacationers spread over 6 square miles of town and 13 miles of beaches, ocean and sound. We also have lovely parks, a 12-mile emerald path for walking and cycling, and virtually every vacation home, mine included, have large decks. Indeed, at my homes, I have massive house decks, decks around the pools, and decks out by the dunes. Plenty of room for practicing social distancing guidelines. Wishing for a miracle or a magic vaccine, or worse, ignoring reality, none of these actions are going to get things back up and running. We have entered a new normal. The town of Emerald Isle has embraced the Phase 1 social distancing guidelines, and we urge all guests wanting to discover or experience our piece of paradise to embrace them as well. And when you get here, stop by Flip Flop's Donut Shop. Pick up a dozen donuts and a copy of my latest book, Living Where You Vacation. Stay safe and stay well. And return next week to the same bat channel at the same bat time of 9 a.m. on Thursday for another episode of Emerald Isle Vacation Home Specialist.